What if you woke up tomorrow and every single dollar you spent your life saving was just gone? Not stolen by a stranger breaking into your home, not lost in a bad investment, gone because you answered a phone call, gone because you trusted the name on your screen, gone because you did exactly what you thought a responsible person was supposed to do. That's not a hypothetical. That's what happened to a real woman, a woman who worked for over a decade to build financial security for herself, a woman who did nothing wrong except trust the system she was told to trust. And by the time she realized what had happened, nearly $160,000 had already been wired out of her account. Gone. Just like that. If this video makes you uncomfortable, good. It should, because this is happening right now to people who are careful, smart, and financially responsible. And if you don't know how this scam works, you are not protected. Before we go any further, if you care about your money and the money of people you love, hit that subscribe button right now. Share this video with your family, your parents, your friends who use a bank account. Because what you're about to learn could save someone's life savings. Hit like too, so more people get to see this. Now, let's get into it. Her name is Deborah. She had just moved to a new home, new address, new surroundings, new chapter in her life. She wasn't young anymore, and she knew it. She wasn't chasing riches or high-risk investments. She just wanted stability, a comfortable, quiet life funded by years of hard work and careful saving. Then one afternoon, she got a text message. It looked completely normal. It came from what appeared to be Chase Bank. The message said there was a $35 debit card charge from another state, and it asked a simple question. Did you approve this? That's it. No drama, no urgency. Just a simple, familiar-looking fraud alert, the kind millions of people receive every year. She said no, she didn't approve it. Totally routine. She barely thought twice about it. Then her phone rang. The caller ID said, Chase Bank. A calm, professional woman's voice came through. She said her name was Miss Barbara, and she was calling from Chase's ATM department. She told Deborah not to worry. She just wanted to verify her identity and issue her a new debit card for security purposes. Deborah said yes. Of course she said yes. What else would you say? Miss Barbara told her the process was simple. Chase would send her a text message with a verification code. All Deborah needed to do was read those numbers back over the phone. Standard procedure, quick and easy. Deborah read the numbers. Miss Barbara thanked her warmly, told her the new card would arrive within 1 to 2 days, and hung up. Simple, professional, reassuring. Nothing about it felt wrong. But the next day, Miss Barbara called again. There was a problem with the FedEx delivery. They were having trouble locating her new address. This wasn't surprising to Deborah. She had just moved, after all. Miss Barbara just needed to verify her identity one more time. Another text message, another code, another polite thank you. Then she called again and again. Over the course of a week, Miss Barbara called several times. Each time, a reasonable excuse. Each time, a simple verification request. Each time, Deborah read back the numbers. She had no idea those codes weren't for a new debit card. Those codes were two-factor authentication codes sent directly from Chase Bank's real security system. Every time Deborah read one of those numbers out loud, she was unknowingly approving a wire transfer, a real one, an authorized one. In the eyes of Chase's systems, every transaction looked legitimate. By the time Deborah walked into her local Chase branch, suspicious, anxious, needing answers, the damage was already done. A supervisor looked up her account. Then he looked up at her. He told her the account had been very active. All of her money was gone. She didn't just have a zero balance. She owed Chase $895 on 6 wire transfers, some as large as nearly $48,000, all within a single week, all while she was waiting for a debit card that was never coming. 12 years of savings vanished. She filed a police report. She filed a claim with Chase. She did everything right after the fact. And 5 weeks later, Chase sent her a letter. They had reviewed the situation. They had made their decision. Claim denied. Their reasoning was precise and devastating. During the review, they determined that Deborah had not taken appropriate steps to protect her account from theft or unauthorized use. Because she had shared those verification codes, even though she had no idea what they were actually authorizing, the transactions appeared legitimate. In the bank's framework, it looked like she had approved everything. And legally, morally, in the cold language of financial institutions, that was essentially the end of the story. Her words after that are worth sitting with for a moment. She said her whole world fell apart. She said she thought the bank was the place you put your money to keep it safe. And then she said something that should stay with all of us. It's not safe. It needs to change. Now let's talk about why this worked. Because this was not a clumsy, obvious scam. This was precise. This was engineered specifically to bypass every instinct you've been trained to trust. And understanding exactly how it was built is the only way to make sure it never works on you. The first piece was that text message. It was real. It actually came from Chase Bank. The scammers didn't fake it. They triggered it. By attempting a small, suspicious transaction on Deborah's account, they caused Chase's own fraud detection system to send an alert. A $35 charge. Small enough to feel harmless, simple enough to feel routine. Nothing alarming about it at all. That was completely intentional. The second piece was the phone call, and this is where most people's defenses collapse. The caller ID showed Chase Bank. Not a random number, not something slightly off. It said Chase Bank. That's because caller ID can be spoofed. It's not complicated technology. Scammers use it constantly, and it works because we've all been told to trust what our caller ID says. The voice on the other end was calm, warm, and unhurried. No threats, no urgency, no pressure, just a friendly bank employee doing her job. The third piece was the verification trap. And this is the part that makes this particular scam so devastating. Deborah never gave anyone her password. She never gave them her PIN. She never handed over her account number. What she gave them was 6 authentication codes, the exact same codes Chase uses to confirm wire transfers. When she read those numbers out loud, she was, in the bank's eyes, personally authorizing each transaction. The scammers didn't break into the bank. They used Deborah as the key. The fourth piece was the pacing. This didn't happen in one phone call. It unfolded slowly over a week, with consistent follow-up and believable explanations. The repeated calls with delivery problems felt annoying, not suspicious. Each interaction reinforced the story. By the time the 6th wire transfer went through, the story had been told so many times that it felt like routine. And the fifth piece, the one that makes recovery nearly impossible, is how banks handle this afterward. Here's the hard truth. Banks are designed to protect systems, not people, not feelings, not life savings that took 12 years to build. When a transaction looks authorized, when the security codes were entered and the transfers were confirmed, the bank's system reads that as the customer approved this. The fact that a customer was tricked, manipulated, and deceived doesn't change what the system recorded. And most banks, when faced with that record, will deny the claim. This is not unique to Chase. Wells Fargo operates this way. Bank of America operates this way. Credit unions, online banks, regional banks, they all use similar authentication systems, and they all carry the same policy framework. If the transaction appears authorized, the responsibility shifts to the customer. That's the world we're operating in. And that's why what you do before something like this happens matters infinitely more than what you do after. All right, pause for a second. You've been locked in on this, and I see you. Go ahead and drop a comment below telling me which part of this scam shocked you the most. Was it the caller ID spoofing? The real authentication codes being used against her? Or the bank denying her claim after everything? Let me know down there. The conversations in the comments on videos like this are genuinely eye-opening. And if you haven't shared this yet, do it right now. Text it to someone. Post it somewhere. This information saves people. Let's talk about protection. These aren't tips. These aren't gentle suggestions. These are the rules that stand between your money and people who do this for a living. The first rule is this: never respond to a fraud text. Not yes, not no, not stop, not anything. The moment you reply to one of those messages, you have entered a conversation that someone else is controlling. If you're genuinely worried about a charge on your account, close the text message and call the number on the back of your debit card. You initiate the call, you verify the situation, you stay in control. The second rule: never trust a call that comes to you. It doesn't matter what the caller ID says. Your bank's name can appear on your screen and it can still be a scammer on the other end. Legitimate banks rarely call you out of the blue about fraud, and they never, under any circumstances, need you to verify your identity by reading codes over the phone. If someone calls you claiming to be your bank, hang up. Then call the bank yourself using the official number. The third rule is the most important one to memorize. Never share a verification code with anyone. These codes exist specifically to confirm that you, and only you, are authorizing an action. The moment you read that code to another person, you have handed them your authorization. No bank employee will ever ask for this, ever. If anyone asks you for a one-time code, it is a scam, full stop, no exceptions. The fourth rule: lock down your wire transfers before anything happens. Most people don't know they can do this. Call your bank and ask them to require in-branch approval for any wire transfer. Add a verbal passphrase to your account that must be provided before large transactions are processed. Set a daily wire limit. These steps create friction, and friction is exactly what stops a scam like this from succeeding. Scammers work fast because the system lets them. You can slow the system down in your favor. The fifth rule: don't keep everything in one place. Deborah lost $160,000 because it was all sitting in a single account. A checking account tied to a debit card. Accessible. Vulnerable. Your life savings should not be in the same account you use for groceries. Move large balances to a high-yield savings account. Keep your spending money separate from your reserves. Even if someone gets access to your checking account, they can't immediately reach everything you've built, Separation is a form of protection that most people never think about until it's too late. The sixth rule: monitor everything. Set up transaction alerts for every single activity on your account. You want to know the moment something moves. The faster you know, the faster you can act. Time is the only thing that gives you any chance of recovering money after a wire transfer has been sent. Now let's talk about what to do if this happens to you, because the next few hours after you discover a problem will determine everything. The first thing you do is call your bank immediately. Use the number on the back of your card. Do not search for a number online. Do not use a number from a text message. Get through to the fraud department and tell them exactly what happened. While you're on that call, start writing everything down. The time you called, the name of the person you spoke to, what they told you, what actions were taken. Every detail matters. Banks operate on documentation, and your paper trail will either help you or hurt you. The second thing you do is go to a branch in person. Don't handle something this serious over the phone if you can avoid it. Walk in, ask to speak with a supervisor, and escalate immediately. Ask them about wire recall options. It's not always possible, but when a transfer is recent, sometimes the receiving bank can be contacted and funds can be frozen before they disappear completely. It's a long shot, but long shots are worth taking when everything is on the line. The third thing you do is file a police report. I know it feels like a formality. I know it feels like nothing will come from it, but you need it. Banks require it. And if you end up fighting the denial, it becomes part of your legal documentation. Don't skip it, even if it feels pointless in the moment. The fourth thing you do is file a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The CFPB exists specifically for situations like this. When you file a complaint, the bank is required to formally respond. That creates accountability. It creates a record. And in many cases, it prompts a second review that sometimes leads to a different outcome. Banks take CFPB complaints seriously in a way they don't take individual phone calls seriously. The fifth thing you do is freeze your credit immediately. Even if the scam only touched your bank account, the people who did this now know things about you. Your name, your address, your banking information, possibly more. Freeze your credit at all three bureaus: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. It takes minutes and it's free. Do it before they try the next move. The sixth thing you do is change everything: your banking login, your email password, your phone carrier PIN, every password connected to anything financial. Enable two-factor authentication on all accounts. But from now on, never share those codes with anyone. Set up alerts, lock things down. Assume that whoever did this might try again from a different angle. Now, here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. The reason people feel so betrayed when this happens isn't just the money. It's the realization that the systems they trusted to protect them didn't protect them at all. We're taught from a young age that banks are safe, that the money you deposit is guarded, insured, protected, and in some ways it is. But what we're not taught is that those protections have conditions. And one of the biggest conditions is this: if it looks like you authorized something, the bank will treat it as authorized. Scammers know this better than most people who work in banking. They don't try to break through security walls. Breaking through security walls is hard. It's risky. It attracts attention. Instead, they find a person, a real, trusting, responsible person. And they walk that person through every security gate themselves. The person becomes the vulnerability, not the system. When the bank reviews what happened, they see a customer who shared codes and approved transactions. They don't see a victim. They see liability they didn't create. That framework is frustrating. It's infuriating. For Deborah, it was devastating. But understanding it is what keeps you from becoming the next person sitting across from a bank supervisor, hearing that your account has been very active and your money is gone. Here's one more thing worth saying clearly. These scammers are professionals. Not professionals in any moral or respectable sense, but professionals in the sense that they've refined what they do. They practice the conversations. They modulate their tone. They time their callbacks. They know exactly how long to wait between contacts to feel realistic rather than suspicious. They know that one big request raises red flags, but 6 small requests spread over a week feel routine. They know that your guard is lower when you've already said yes once. They build trust carefully, and then they use it quickly. Deborah is not naive. She's not careless. She's a person who was specifically targeted by people who spent time learning how to manipulate exactly the kind of person she is. That's what makes this so chilling. And that's what makes the bank's letter, the one that said she didn't take appropriate steps, so deeply unfair. But unfair doesn't get money back. Awareness does. So here's what you carry with you after watching this. When someone contacts you claiming to be your bank, your first instinct should not be to cooperate. Your first instinct should be to slow down, to pause, to hang up and call back using a number you already know, to treat every inbound contact about your money as suspicious until you've verified it yourself. The bank will understand. A real bank employee will never be offended by you saying, "Let me call you back through the official number." A scammer, on the other hand, will have a reason why you can't do that. Protect your codes the way you protect your cash, because they are your cash. They are the authorization the entire banking system runs on. Once you give them to the wrong person, the system can't tell the difference. And when the system can't tell the difference, you are on your own. This scam didn't work because Deborah wasn't smart enough. It worked because she was human, because she trusted the name on her phone, because she wanted to believe the system was working for her. That's not a character flaw. That's what these criminals are counting on. Don't let them count on it from you. One final thing before you go, and this is the most important ask I'll make in this entire video. Send this to 3 people right now, not in a week. Right now, while it's fresh and while it matters. Your parents, your grandparents, a friend who doesn't follow financial news. Anyone in your life who could be sitting where Deborah was sitting, waiting for a debit card that's never coming. The few seconds it takes you to share this video could be the thing that saves someone's entire life savings. That's not an exaggeration. That's exactly what's at stake. Share it. And if you're not subscribed yet, do that too, because there's a lot more coming that you need to see.